Have you ever looked at a friend or a colleague who is objectively not as smart as you, yet somehow they are miles ahead in life? They got the promotion, they started the business, and you are just stuck. It feels like you are sitting in a Ferrari revving the engine in neutral, while they are driving a beat-up sedan but actually moving down the highway. If you are tired of watching others win with ideas that you had years ago, I need you to make a small commitment right now. Go to the comments section and type the word ready. Do it now. Treat this simple comment as a signal to your brain that today is the day you stop overthinking and start moving. Because today, we are going to dissect a story. It is the story of a young man named Ethan. Ethan was not lazy. In fact, in his circle of friends, he was known as the guru. He was the idea guy. When his friend Mark was lost in his career, Ethan told him, "You are great with your hands. Start a custom furniture business." Boom. 2 years later, Mark is a wealthy business owner. When his friend Sarah was confused, Ethan told her, "The future is in data science. Take this specific course." Boom. Sarah is now a lead engineer. Ethan had a crystal clear roadmap for everyone else. But his own life was a mess. While his friends were climbing the mountain of success, Ethan was paralyzed at the bottom. He suffered from what psychologists call the monkey mind. 1 week, he was going to be a surgeon. He researched medical schools. The next week, he realized that takes too long, so he decided to be a tech CEO. He bought the domain names. The week after that, he wanted to be a real estate mogul. He was trying on identities like clothes in a fitting room, looking at himself in the mirror, feeling good about how he looked, but never actually buying the shirt. 5 years passed. Mark bought a new house. Sarah was traveling the world. And Ethan? He was still in his bedroom, planning his big move. The bitterness started to eat him alive. He thought, "I am smarter than all of them. Why am I the one losing?" Desperate and broken, he finally arranged a meeting with an old family mentor, a self-made millionaire known for his brutal honesty. Ethan walked into the office, sat down and asked, "What is wrong with the world? Why am I failing?" The mentor did not offer him coffee. He did not give him a hug. Instead, he reached into his desk and pulled out an old, dusty hourglass. He placed it on the table and said, "Ethan, you have 2 deadly diseases, and if you do not cure them in the next 60 minutes, you never will." What happened in that room next is not just a story. It is a psychological experiment that reveals exactly why you are stuck and exactly how to break free. The mentor placed the hourglass on the heavy mahogany desk. He looked Ethan in the eye and said, "Here are the rules. You have exactly 60 minutes. The sand will run out. Before the last grain falls, you must give me one clear answer. Tell me the one thing you want to become. Just one. If you can do that, I will fund your education, I will open my network to you, and I will finance your business. But if the sand runs out and you are still undecided, you leave with nothing." The mentor turned the glass. The sand began to flow. Then he walked out and closed the door. Ethan smiled. He thought, "This is the easiest test of my life. I have been researching careers for 5 years. I know everything." He sat back and watched the sand. He thought, "Okay, I could be a tech entrepreneur. The margins are high, and I love computers. But wait, statistics show 90% of startups fail. That is too risky. What about being a doctor? My mother always wanted a doctor in the family. It is stable. It is prestigious." But then he remembered the 10 years of school, the sleepless nights. He hesitated. He looked at the sand. 10 minutes had passed. His mind jumped again. Real estate. That is where the real wealth is. I could build skyscrapers, but the market is crashing right now. Maybe I should be a diamond merchant like the mentor. That is classy. That is timeless. Ethan was doing something that neuroscientists call simulation. He was not analyzing the work. He was analyzing the reward. When he thought about being a doctor, he did not imagine the blood and the long shifts. He imagined the respect. When he thought about being a CEO, he did not imagine the stress. He imagined the private jet. He was getting high on the fantasy of success without paying the price of the process. This is the trap. Ethan wants to be everything, so he ends up being nothing. Stop for a second. Does this sound like your internal monologue? Are you paralyzed because you are terrified of choosing the wrong path? If you are nodding your head right now, hit the like button on this video. Let that like be a signal to yourself that you are done with the paralysis. Back in the office, the room was silent except for the sound of Ethan's panic. 40 minutes had passed. Sweat started to drip down his forehead. He realized he was not making a decision. He was just spinning in circles. The sand was moving faster now, or at least it felt like it. He thought, if I choose the doctor path, I lose the freedom of the entrepreneur. If I choose business, I lose the prestige of medicine. He was trying to solve an equation with no perfect answer. Suddenly, the door handle turned. The mentor walked in. Ethan looked at the hourglass. There were only a few grains left. The mentor asked, "Time is up. Who are you?" Ethan choked. He stood up and stammered, "I want to be a diamond merchant. No, wait, a politician. Actually, I think science is better." The last grain of sand fell. The mentor raised his hand and said, "Stop. It is over. You failed." Ethan felt his heart sink. He begged, "Please just give me 5 more minutes. I almost had it. I just need a little more time to be sure." The mentor shook his head. He picked up the hourglass and held it in front of Ethan's face. He said, "Look at this. This is your life. Do you see the sand at the bottom? It can never go back up. Time only moves in one direction. While you were sitting here debating with yourself, the hour died. It is gone forever. You treated this hour like you treat your life. You think you have infinite time to decide. You do not." Then the mentor said the sentence that changed everything. He said, "A man walking down the wrong path is closer to success than a man standing still." Think about that. If you walk down the wrong path, you get data. You learn what you hate. You learn discipline. You gain skills. But standing still at the crossroads creates nothing. It creates a graveyard of good intentions. Ethan was devastated. He turned to leave, but the mentor stopped him. He picked up the hourglass and shoved it into Ethan's hands. He said, "Take this. Put it on your desk. And watch the sand fall every single day. If you can cure your paralysis, come back in 1 year. Now, I want you to look at the screen. Imagine this hourglass is yours. The sand is falling right now as I speak. You cannot stop it, but you can choose what to do before it empties. I want you to do what Ethan could not do. Go to the comments section right now. Do not overthink it. Do not try to be perfect. Just write down one big goal you want to achieve. Just one. Write it down before the next sentence ends. Force your brain to commit." Ethan went home that night. He put the hourglass on his table. He watched the sand flow, and for the first time in his life he stopped thinking, and he made a choice. He pulled out a piece of paper and wrote one sentence. "I will become a diamond merchant." Was it his passion? No. Was it the perfect choice? Probably not, but it was a choice, and that was all that mattered. The next morning, Ethan did not wake up and suddenly become a millionaire. He woke up and went to a local jewelry store. He asked for an unpaid apprenticeship. He spent months sweeping floors and memorizing clarity grades of diamonds. It was boring. It was repetitive. And yes, his mind flickered. There were days when he thought, I should have chosen medical school. This is too hard. But every time that monkey mind tried to jump to a new tree, he looked at the hourglass. He realized that switching paths now would not be a shortcut. It would be a reset button. It would send him right back to the starting line with nothing to show for his time. 1 year later, he walked back into the mentor's office. He did not ask for money. He simply shook the man's hand and said, I chose a path, and I walked it. 5 years later, Ethan was one of the most successful merchants in the city. He won not because he was the smartest person in the room, but because he was the only one who did not quit when the excitement faded. So, what does this mean for you? You are likely suffering from the same disease Ethan had. You are waiting for the perfect idea. You are waiting for a guarantee of success before you start. But science tells us that movement creates data, while standing still creates nothing. A person walking down the wrong path is infinitely closer to success than a person waiting at the crossroads. To break this cycle, you need a system. Here is your 3-step protocol to cure analysis paralysis starting today. Step 1 is the imperfect choice. Stop looking for your soulmate career. Stop looking for the perfect business idea. Just pick one direction that interests you. It does not have to be your forever passion. It just has to be your current focus. Step 2 is the micro-action. You cannot build a wall in a day, but you can lay one brick. Do not plan the whole company. Just buy the domain name today. Do not plan the whole novel. Just write one paragraph. Prove to your brain that you are a person who acts. Step 3 is the 90-day lock. This is the most critical part. Once you pick your path, you must commit to it for exactly 90 days. During this time, you are not allowed to quit. You are not allowed to switch to a new idea. If a brilliant new idea comes into your head, write it down and put it in a drawer. Do not touch it. You must teach your brain to push through the boredom, because that is where the real value is built. Your hourglass is on the table right now. The sand is falling as you listen to my voice. You can never get those grains back. So, I am asking you to do one hard thing right now. Do not just close this video and go back to scrolling. Go to the comments section and write down your 90-day goal. Make a public promise to yourself and to this community. And if you have a friend who is stuck, a friend who has so much potential but is wasting it on indecision, share this video with them. Be the mentor who puts the hourglass on their desk. You might just save them 5 years of their life. Subscribe to the channel if you are ready to build a better future. Stop thinking. Start doing. Your life is being built one grain of sand at a time.